Hey everybody, just messing around on this old Mac desktop computer. This is the, we kind of call this the family computer in the house here. Several members of the family use this for homework or research. I do all of my editing on this computer, believe it or not. And the reason why I say believe it or not is because some of you are probably thinking, man, that's an old computer. And I'll get to that in a moment. So we got an issue with this computer that I'm going to see if I can straighten out. Right now, I'm on the eBay site. I'm looking at actually some items I had here that didn't sell. I don't understand this phase 2 quick change tool post with a holder. It's starting bid at 11 grand plus shipping, and didn't get any bids. eBay's advising me to drop this by $1,100 and relist. What do you guys think? All right, that's a little inside joke, so just ignore that. And for those of you who didn't see couldn't see the screen and think that I was actually joshing, no, I actually did list. It's a long story, but anyways. Let's get to the computer issue. So this computer has a tendency to be slow as molasses in the wintertime, and the hard drive makes an awful lot of noise, like it's constantly being accessed when you're barely doing anything. One of the things you often get with this computer, and at any given time it'll just act fine, and then sometimes it'll just go crazy nuts, horrible. Well, you get what I believe is referred to as the beach ball of death. You also tend to get up here in this tab, you'll get this little recycling symbol will appear up here as if the page is just reloading. I think a lot of what's being loaded here is these advertisements and stuff like that that are on the page, but also probably a bazillion little cookies and God knows what else. I think this thing, when I turn it on, and I go to a page, there it goes again. See, it's doing something there. It's loading the new ad. Takes forever to load. And all the time that it's doing all of that, which I don't care about, because I could care less about choosing my internet. It makes everything else very sluggish. Hotmail, MSN Hotmail, my Hotmail account page, when I go to that, that's notoriously horrible. It's gotten so bad that I don't even use this computer to check my email or write email. I tend to use my phone, which is so much quicker. So I think part of the problem is that the security is very outdated on this computer. So let me just show you real quick. I'm going to close. Oh, and Safari, oh, forget it. Safari's even worse. So I'm running Chrome browser on this. See, there's the beach ball of death. See, all I did was click on that tab up there. Now, of course, the tab opens, but I've moved the cursor. Oh, I caught it. All right, so we're going to quit Chrome. And look at it. We're just trying to exit this program, and nothing else that I want running is running. In other words, I just turned this computer on and opened Chrome and went to a couple websites, and that hard drive is just going to town. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just like crazy, just constant hard drive noise. Now I close this, and now it's finally closing. Okay, now. All right, just took a minute here to clean up my desktop. Had a few personal files on here. So let's start with just the about this Mac. All right, so this is a white Macintosh desktop, and the reason why I mention that it's a white one is because what I've learned in my search for possible deals on used units to replace this one, if I want to upgrade this, anything you see out there used desktop like this that's white is going to be an earlier generation. They went to a silver color in the later ones, so you tend to want to look for silver ones. The problem is because there's only so much upgrading and updating you can do to these old white ones. So let's start with the tail of the tape, so to speak. So this is a Mac that's running Mac OS 10 version 10.6.8. All right, which I believe is designated Snow Leopard. Don't quote me on that. All right, it's running a 2.16 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo processor. It's got 1 gig of RAM, which is a problem. So the computer is very slow. Beach ball of death frequently comes along. And certain web pages, when I open them, they really cause that hard drive just to go nuts, make a lot of noise, and the page will be very, very slow. And oftentimes I'll get the message will pop up that say the page has stopped responding, and it'll ask me if I want to wait or close the page, and it can just drive you nuts. The other thing that happens, and part of the reason why I think I'm having so much trouble with this, is the version of Chrome that I have on here is outdated, and it needs to be updated. But whenever I open Chrome, I get this message right here that says, this computer will no longer receive Google Chrome updates because Mac OS 10, 10.6, 10.7, and 10.8 are no longer supported. So I'm hoping that upgrading the operating system on this old Mac will allow me to update Chrome and solve several problems, hopefully. Now, when I first tried to update this computer, what I ended up finding was that it wouldn't do it. If I go to, if I click on software update, I believe what ends up happening is this thing opens and it checks for new software, and then it's going to tell me, I think it's going to tell me that the computer's up to date. Well, yes and no. I think the reason why it says that is because it's basically telling you, I think it tells me there are no updates available for this computer. So we'll see what it does. I don't remember anymore. There we go. Your software is up to date. Software update doesn't have any new software for your computer at this time. Well, it'll never have any because they're not supporting this anymore. So what I got to do is I've got to find a newer operating system that this computer can actually use. So when I tried to update the operating system before, it basically told me I couldn't do it. And I went online and I found out that other people had put operating system upgrades on this computer, at least a little bit better than what's on here now. I think this is running Snow Leopard, and I think you can get El Capitan on here. So that's what I want to try and update this to. And the reason why I hadn't been able to do it previously, from what I understand, is because I only have that 1 gig of RAM. So there are, if I didn't already mention it, just real quick, a couple of things you need. You need this 1 gig to be 4 gig. Now, interestingly enough, some people say that when you install the 4 gig of RAM, that the system will actually only show 3 gig, even though there's actually 4 gig physically installed. I also saw somebody else that said that the system would support up to 6 gig. Oh, you know what? I think that was a 2008. I think this is a 2007 model, and I think in 2008 they went to 6 gig support. So what I read online is that there are only 2 slots available for memory on this thing. So right now, I don't know if both slots are populated or not, but there's only 1 gig in this machine. So what you have to do is you have to find RAM. You have to find two 2 gigabyte sticks to put in there to get your 4 gigs. And there are certain requirements the RAM must have. They must be DDR2 SD RAM. It must be the 667 megahertz bus speed.
And there was something else about it. So let me just show you what I bought. Oh, speak of the devil. Okay, so see, all I wanted to do is sign in to my eBay account, and it takes forever for the page to load, and I get this stupid, do I want to wait for it? Yada yada yada. Oh, another thing too, my online banking website. I can't even use my online banking. I can't get to my online banking through this computer because apparently the encryption, security, whatever thingamadoodle that is required, I guess this version of Chrome can't support it, and because I can't update Chrome, I haven't been able to use this computer for online banking. Okay, guys, so this is the actual RAM that I bought off of eBay. It was the bargain price of $6.60 for 2 sticks. So this was slow boat from China delivery. It actually wasn't that bad of a wait. So what it is it's Transcend is the brand name, unless it's counterfeit, I don't know. 2 gigabytes, 2R times 8, PC2 5300, DDR2-667 megahertz, CL5 200 pin, laptop memory, SODIMM RAM. I ignored the laptop memory. I think the reason why, I don't think that this is only used in laptops. I think that this is just a common form factor that's used in laptops. I may be wrong about this. This may not work at all. I don't know. I just went online to see what I needed to get and found out that I need to get basically 2. I ended up buying 2 of these. 2 gig sticks of RAM, and they have to be bus speed, the PC2 5300 bus with the 667 megahertz bus speed, 200 pin, which I think that's what the SODIMM form factor is. I may be wrong on that. But this seemed to click on all of the key points that you need to have. So I ended up getting this stuff, and then of course it came in just a little cheap padded envelope from China. And these little itty bitty things right here, believe it or not, are the actual sticks of memory. So what we're going to do now is we're going to power down the unit, unplug it, open her up, switch out this RAM, and see what happens. All right, so it couldn't be easier to change the RAM on one of these things. First thing I did was I cleaned off the desktop, try and minimize the amount of dust bunnies and dust that was hanging around the area and on the base. Try and rid the area of any cat dander. Cat dander. All right, so as I was saying, I cleaned the area. I unplugged the computer from the wall outlet. You loosen these 2 screws, pop off this little trap door. There's 2 little levers here that you flip up. They actually cause the little card to pop up. All right, so I needed both hands to do this, but I flipped these 2 levers out and the 2 cards pop up. So there's one. All right, a little fiddling and diddling, I was able to get this top one out too. I'm kind of surprised that this new memory just comes in this plastic bubble wrap deal here. Not a no anti-static device packaging here. So and I actually have a wrist strap for anti-static precaution, but well, I'm not going to do anything about it. For those of you who are morbidly curious, the side-by-side comparison, I make sure that the notch is on the same side. You see there's a notch there between the pins, and so that's how I know which way it goes in, because there are actually chips on both sides. And there are more devices on this one. So just toss them into the 2 slots. Toss them in. And then I guess we work these levers down. Alright. I'll make sure these are seated correctly before I force those levers. On the back side of this, there's a little metal lip that kind of catches the edge down here and tilt this into position and tighten the screws.
All right, powering on for the first time. Well, that's a good sign. Hey!
And if we check about this Mac, we can see that it now says memory. It is showing 4 gigabytes. Great.
All right, so I'm still getting this "your software is up to date" message here. So the auto update is still not going to work. So I'm gonna have to manually now see if I can install El Capitan. So if I open the App Store and I go to updates, I'm still getting this "no updates available." Of course, up here it's Mac OS High Sierra. Hey, free upgrade. Of course, this isn't going to work. We could not complete your purchase. This version of Mac OS 10.13.6 cannot be installed on this computer. Right. Now, you'll find online there's plenty of snazzy articles online explaining how to install El Capitan and upgrade for free from 10.6.8 Snow Leopard. They basically say if you're running Leopard, you have to upgrade to Snow Leopard first, then you can upgrade to El Capitan. I think Yosemite must have been prior to El Capitan, because I think on some of the older posts they talk about upgrading from Snow Leopard to Yosemite. But I guess you can make the jump directly to El Capitan from Snow Leopard. Confusing? It gets better. So this article's from 2015. Hey, yay, sure, great. Gonna be all fine and dandy, except for one problem. They tell you to go to the App Store. And if you go to the App Store, you cannot find it. Of course, you can find High Sierra right there on the home page. But if you search even for OS 10 El Capitan or El Capitan, all that comes up are these things. This is Learn OS, Video Guide for El Capitan, Learn Safari Edition, Learn Contacts. There is no operating system. In fact, if you go to the main page, these are the top paid programs. Over here, top free, there's no operating systems even shown. Top grossing, also no operating system shown. Showing puzzles. There's Mac OS High Sierra right there, but you'll notice there is no other operating system showing there. So that's kind of annoying. It appears that it is no longer available on the App Store. Well, let's try the Apple support page. How to download OS El Capitan. And let's see. OS 10 El Capitan requires any of the following Mac models. Version of OS X requires at least 2 gig of memory. Oh, okay, so it doesn't need 4, but I decided to put 4 in because I only had 1. 8.8 gig of storage space. I've got that covered. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. iMac models from mid-2000 or later. OS X Yosemite. Get El Capitan from the App Store. Now that High Sierra is available, you should upgrade to High Sierra instead of El Capitan. For security and compatibility reasons, Apple always recommends using the latest version of the Mac OS. Yeah, but it already told me I can't do that. Oh, here we go. If your Mac doesn't support High Sierra, or you're using Snow Leopard or Lion and would like to upgrade to High Sierra, follow these steps. Okay. Use this link to open the El Capitan page on the App Store. That's weird. I wonder if this is a typo here. It says, if your Mac doesn't support High Sierra, or you're using Snow Leopard or Lion and would like to upgrade to High Sierra, follow these steps. And it says, get El Capitan. So are they saying upgrade to El Capitan first and then to High Sierra?
So oddly enough, I couldn't find it when I was searching on the App Store, but if I use that link, it actually opens the App Store and brings me right to OS X El Capitan's download page. Yay. And right over here, it says it's free. Yay. Instead of a download button, it says get. Oh, we could not complete your purchase. This version of OS X 10.11 cannot be installed on this computer. Why? Why not? I clicked on learn more and nothing's happening. Or is this? Nope. All right. I guess I'm not going to learn more. Yeah, I don't get it because I'm currently running version 10.6.8. And this says compatibility OS 10, 10.6.8 or later. So that shouldn't be what's stopping me from upgrading. Now I saw on another page where it said you have to have at least 2 gig of RAM. Well, I now have 4 gig of RAM running, so that shouldn't be the problem. So what gives? All right, so I searched and Googled unable to download El Capitan and eventually found the forum thread here where somebody is talking about they have an older Mac mid-2007, which is I believe what I've got. iMac processor Core 2 Duo, and they've got 2 gig of memory in theirs. And they talk about how they're having the same, pretty much similar problem to me, only when they click the get button, instead of getting a message saying that they can't have it, they just don't see anything happening. But the answer here, it says, talks about updating the App Store, problems with the App Store, and it gives a link to this download section. And these are keyword snow leopard, so basically searching downloads, and what comes up, look at this, download OS El Capitan 10.6 combo update. So I don't know what that is. Let's see what that is. Update improves stability, compatibility, and security of your Mac, recommended for all El Capitan users. All right, so this looks like it's for people who already have El Capitan. But here's the Mac's App Store update for OS X Snow Leopard. I wonder if that is an update that I should have. Recommended for all Snow Leopard users. There's probably no harm in updating this. All right, so we're now installing the Mac App Store update for OS X Snow Leopard. The installation was successful. I also see a download Mac OS X 10.6 update version 1.1. This is recommended. Now, I don't know whether or not this is already on here. I would think this is already on my computer, and that's why my computer, when I do software update, why it's telling me that it's nothing's available. But let's see. Let's see if there's a way we can see what updates are on this computer. Software. I just clicked on extensions under software. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for or not. All right, I don't know how to look at what updates are installed, so I'm just going to try and download this update package and see what happens. There we go. Okay, so we're getting ready to install the OS X update. And let's see what happens. Recommended for all users running Mac OS X Snow Leopard. Operating system fixes, enhance stability, compatibility, and security of your Mac. So it doesn't look like there would be anything bad there. I have to accept the agreement apparently. Computer will restart after this installs. All right, let's see what happens. The installation was successful. The software was installed. So I'm going to restart the computer. Oh, come on. Still won't work. All right, so I still can't get this to download El Capitan. So I searched and found this other thread on this website called Ask Different. Ask for your Apple questions. Oh, answers for your Apple questions. So somebody here is talking about they've got basically the same problem. They've got Apple OS that says that they can run El Capitan, and they're currently running Snow Leopard 10.6.8, but that when they try and do it, nothing happens. They're not getting the error message, so it's a little bit different. But here's the interesting thing. Down here, there's an answer. Somebody says, right here, install OS X El Capitan on Mac direct download. It's a link. So this is a hack, but it should work. Apparently this somehow gets around the problem with the Apple Store finding something on your computer that is basically stopping the download from happening in the first place. So install OS 10 El Capitan on Mac, direct download. Click Start Now, download on our website, and get the free file converter. And that's my file converter. I think this is an advertisement for this file converter thing. Yeah, because you can X that out. So that's a trick. You don't want to click on that. Bastards. All right. My experience with the upgrade process was not a pleasant one. All right, so I've decided I'm going to try this workaround. So the first step is to download, using these direct links, these two files. The first file, this .pfpkg file, is a small one. The second file is basically the operating system. So that is currently downloading right here, and it's 5.8 gigs. And right now, it's 5:30 in the afternoon, so the cable system's internet's probably getting pretty busy with people arriving home, checking email, and doing God knows what. Long story short, it's pretty slow right now, so it looks like there's 2 hours left.